recording, so no F-bombs.
And
Mayville. And then we're going to go live in Facebook. Hopefully this doesn't take as long as it did the other day. Okay. I always forget about this part. I have to choose the group.
stop. Okay.
Very complicated.
I still want the song for Congo with my ears.
Juliet is not muted.
I was gonna say, I gotta mute.
If everybody goes ahead and mute while Casey's doing that.
Yes, please mute yourselves. Okay. Go live. Let's see. Oh, I did go live anyways. Okay. Oh, wow. That was quick. Jackie, will you be able to do some quality assurance to make sure that we are in fact live when you
Yes.
redirecting? Okay.
You got it?
Okay. I think I see us.
Yep.
Yep.
Yay. All
And
right.
we have everybody, let me see, everybody is muted. Oh my gosh.
People, you guys
Okay.
follow instructions.
We're going to kill this tonight.
It's like you've done this before.
All right. Ready,
All right.
set?
You want to go?
Okay. Hi, my name is Kate. My name is Kate Cooney, and I am here in West Wareham, Mass tonight. And we are all becoming so familiar with Zooms and each other. It's amazing what happens during these pandemic situations. And tonight, what we're doing is we are addressing ditch and switch specifically in the kitchen, and I'm going to explain why. And also explain that this is one of a series. We decided that we were going to break up the different rooms of the house, and as well as personal care items, because there was an awful lot. As I started to put a tracker together of how many different potential areas of toxicity was in the household, I get up very quickly to 5 pages. So it's over 100 different areas of products that we should be looking at and considering. So tonight, what you're going to hear from is from a bunch of Young Living members and leaders. Each one has chosen a different part of the kitchen that they are tackling, and they're going to give you just a really quick 2-minute overview. Now, we realize that in a 60-minute period, we can't cover everything, even in the kitchen, even bringing this down to 1. So when you have additional questions, by all means, please put them in the chat. We're going to answer them as we go. So as somebody's talking, the rest of us will answer and sort of do the crowdsourcing. But more importantly, as we see your questions, we can take these back to our groups, to Wicked Oily and to Divine Wellness, and we can further educate you there. So this is at least to get you started in asking and knowing what to be looking for, because some of this stuff, I have to tell you, I was completely clueless. So I'm going to read through some quick stats, and my stat keeper is going to set the clock for 15 minutes. There are 80,000 chemicals produced in the United States, and of these, the Environmental Protection Agency has required testing on just 200 of them. So we've got a big gap between that which is being made and that which is actually being tested and monitored. The EPA did this toxic release inventory list, and it listed 595 chemicals that are known to cause significant adverse health effects. So how is it that we have 80,000 chemicals being made, only 595 made it to the list, and wait, this is the great one, and 5 of them from that were regulated to the point that they can no longer be put in products. 5. We're now up to, there is a total of 11 things in the United States that have been banned. That same list in Europe, there's 1,100 items on it. So there's a problem, and we're not getting protected. So if you think for 1 second that you are protected, you are not protected. So, and this is something I didn't realize, right? So I've been an advanced practice nurse for so long, and nowhere in doing a health physical or your wellness exam does anyone talk about, you know, what's your exposure look like? Okay, so we're talking about that. The EWG, and we'll talk about the EWG and the EWG app, reports that the average woman is exposed to between 150 to 600 toxins daily. And the variation in that would come from whether or not you're using makeup, how much hair care products, how much body care products, things like that. So between 150 to 600 toxins daily. And we think this number is even higher for many of us, okay? We think it's even higher. So we realize that this continuous assault and these challenges are preventing us, from most of us, from being clean or green, okay? Now, even when we reduce the toxins in our house, so I have to tell you, sorry, one of the things that I was surprised was when I first went to convention, we had an Airbnb and everybody was going insane. I had just started getting clean in my lifestyle, and the house was had plugins like in every single socket, and they had candles and they had sprays and they had the Renews-Its, and then they were using God knows what for their laundry. It was an absolute stink fest in the house that people were getting sick from. And I couldn't believe it. I didn't understand it. I was not having that reaction. Now that I've eliminated all of these things from my lifestyle, I can't tolerate any of it anymore. It's amazing. I can't even go down the aisle at the supermarket. So this is what we're looking at when we start getting rid of and resensitizing our stuff from all of this. So what does this all mean, and why do we even care? So we may not be able to control the schools, the work, our dentist office, our doctor's office, but we can sure control what goes on in our home, right? We are stewards of our home. It is our job to protect our families. Very, very simply. Cancer rates continue to climb, and our overall health and wellness is not improving as a society. In fact, we have just produced the first generation that has a shorter life expectancy than our generation. Okay, think about that. We are poisoning and toxifying our own selves to the point that the generation that's there now has a shorter life expectancy than those of us that are on this call do. That's a problem. We have got to pay attention. And I like to think of this whole thing with all of us being here and being in quarantine and being in our house is the great pause of 2020, right? Never again in our life, hopefully, will we ever have this opportunity to stop, slow down, and fix it. Right? What a gift we have right now that we can dig into this stuff. So part of doing this series room by room is, okay, so when you get off the phone, what I'm hoping is that you guys leave with a list of things you're going to start ditching and switching over the next week or so. Then in a week from now, we'll go to the next room. Right? So can you see how this works? Part of the pause right now is taking care of ourselves. So many of these toxins, what are they doing on top of cancer? They're hormone disruptors, right? So the hormones, the regulating bodies in our body, the chemicals that our body and our brain make are being disrupted, right? That's a problem. So what happens when we play with the hormones? Hot flashes, sleeping disorders, sugar dysregulation, all of these things contribute to our decline. Allergies, right? Allergies are on the rise. Infertility. Every single one of us knows a couple that's going through infertility treatment, if not many, many, many friends doing that. ADD and so many other chronic illnesses. So these problems these aren't little problems. These are major life challenges. So people are shocked when they actually start to do the bioaccumulation. So when I made the 5-page check sheet of going through your house, what was decided from a leadership perspective was, oh dear God, do not give that to anybody. Nobody in their right mind wants to see 5 pages of what they're dealing with, which again is why we're dividing this up into series. We don't want to scare. We want to educate and we want to empower. So, but when you start to understand the toxins, and then the toxins in your work, and then the toxins around you, you realize that what's happening to many of us is bioaccumulation. And what does that mean? So bioaccumulation is when you are taking in too much toxins and junk, and you are not getting rid of them. So they are staying in your fat stores. There are many that believe that our cellulite is stored toxins, or some of it anyhow. Mine's also probably like Twinkies and stored toxins, right? So I've got a combination there going on. But our livers are working overtime, our kidneys are working overtime, right? Our skin, the largest organ that we have, is as much of a barrier as it is a sponge, right? It's a barrier and a carrier. It's doing both. So we've got that. So we are looking to support our families and reduce these exposures. So how do we fix this? So one is avoidance, right? The reality of it is, and I think that we need to be very honest about this, is it is impossible to completely avoid all this, and it's impossible to eliminate all of this. But I also believe in the 80-20 rule when I eat, as well as managing my family and my health. If we can eliminate 80% of the toxins, right, we're okay. We don't need perfection. We don't need to throw the baby out with the bathwater. And we detoxify, right? We drink a lot of water. We use detoxifying oils, parsley, cilantro, lemon, all great oils for detoxification. Dry brushing, right? Lots of techniques that we can be using. Okay. Now, this is the part I wanted to add because we have your attention right now. New research is showing that maternal exposure, so when a woman is pregnant, so with maternal exposure, any pollution can harm the fetus, right? That's no brand new news to us. Where the news comes in is, and that child carries that into adulthood, that compromised immunity, and passes it on to their offspring, right? This is the whole epigenetics piece that we're talking about. With global warming, toxic stress, mutilating the DNA and the RNA strands, we are in fact creating illnesses that we once attributed to being genetic. So like our neuro diseases, our multiple sclerosis, our ALS, all of that good stuff. Are they in fact genetic dispositions, or are they social? Have we impacted this? I feel that pretty strongly that we are basically causing this and passing this on and on and on. We all have a stake in the game in reducing toxic burden, and we have never, ever, ever in recent history had a time where our voice was so important and we had the time to assert it, right? When have we collectively as a society been home and able to mobilize? I think most people would agree with me. If you look back at the last week, when I say to you, anything is possible, I don't think anyone can argue with me anymore, right? Anything is possible. Look at what our lives are right now. Look at what we're doing. We need to take advantage of this as much as possible and start cleaning up the environment. There are so many different toxins. Yes, there's the dirty dozen. Yes, there's a whole bunch of different chemicals that we see over and over and over. And these awesome ladies, one by one, are going to talk to you a little bit about what you can do, right? Because at this point, this is not about fear, right? Once you're empowered and you're educated, you are good to go. And welcome to these ladies with wonderful solutions as we implement, right? This is about implementing. When we leave here today and for the week, we want to implement and make this pause of 2020 really matter. So I'm going to ask Miss Lisa, who I just love, who looks so pretty for considering she's stuck in her house right now. I thought it was good that I bathed. She actually looks kind of like, you look a little sexy, girl. I'm just going to tell you. She's going to start the kitchen off for us with water. So Miss Lisa, take it away.
Thank you, Kay. Hey, everybody. I am Lisa XL, and I am coming from Charlotte, North Carolina. So, yeah, I showered, Kay. That's basically what happened. So, a little makeup on. So, as Kay said, we need to drink water. And most people don't know, at least I didn't know, that our water that comes from our kitchen faucet is actually toxic. It contains lots of different things that we don't want to put into our body. I know it changes from region to region. You can do all the research yourself and figure it out, but some of the criminals in your water are like fluoride, arsenic. Believe it or not, we have runoff like glyphosate, like herbicides and pesticides that come through in our water that we drink from our faucet. So very quickly, I'm going to tell you what we do in our house to remove the toxins from our water. And this is for when I cook, and this is also for drinking, because we need to consume a lot of water to stay hydrated to keep our body working at prime. So what I use is a Berkey water filter. And I know that a lot of people in this group have a Berkey water filter. I'm going to try to not pop this out of my stand and kind of give you a side view. It's way over there in the corner. It's sitting on a plant stand, and it's this big tall canister, and it's a there we go, a gravitational filter that filters out everything from fluoride, arsenic, viruses, E. coli, heavy metals, parasites, you name it, and plus much, much more. So that is like the best of the best, unless you're going to do something whole house. So filtering your water is really important. I will tell you, Berkey filters are on back order, so go on their website and put your name on a wait list if it's something you're interested in. Next thing would be to do a water pitcher. I don't have one of the water pitcher filters. Those are good. They remove a lot of things, just not quite as much as the Berkey water filter. 3 top brands are Aqua Gear, Zero Water, and Brita. And if you don't have access to that, I would say do something like your refrigerator has most of them have water filters. And the worst case scenario, it's not very environmental friendly, buy distilled water in bottles. So just make sure that you are filtering your water. I even filter my dog's water. And since I only have 2 minutes, what's that? I can't hear what you're saying, okay?
Sorry. Thank you for wrapping up this thought. Keep going. Go.
You want me to keep going?
Just you got a minute. Wrap her up.
Okay, I'm gonna wrap it up really quick. I wanted to show you guys, if you're drinking a lot of water, ways to keep it fun. Use something like a soda stream. You can go ahead and actually add carbonation to it, and that way you can put it into a glass bottle, and then you can go ahead and add something like our Young Living Vitality Drops to it and add flavor to it, and you're also getting electrolytes there as well. So filter your water, consume your water, and have some fun with it. So there's my 2 minutes.
That's awesome, girl. Thank you so much. So we started with water for a reason, right? It's so important. And we want you to be thinking about what you're washing your veggies in, right? What you're drinking, what you're cooking with, because those are all different ways you're exposing yourself with your water that's coming out of the faucet. So I thank you. I love that, the whole Berkey, and I love the whole soda stream.
It's
right?
great.
That's a nice option, especially a little splash of ink too. All right, next, coming up on the mic is Miss Ann M. She is coming to us from the wonderful state of Nevada, and you just never know what she's going to say. She makes me look like a tame monkey. Ann, you take it away, girl, and tell us all about cookware concerns.
Hey, I'm not going to cuss tonight.
Doubt it.
I'm Ann Mayville. I live in Reno, but I was born and raised in South Louisiana. This topic is very near and dear to my heart because my mother worked, and she did come home and cook dinner for us every single night. But I was also raised on Coca-Cola and Oreos and Lay's potato chips. And because of that, I am thankfully a cancer survivor. And I have 2 live children after 5 miscarriages. And things like that don't run in my family. The cancer that I had has never appeared in my family, and miscarriages had not been common in my family. They are now, though. So that tells me it's my environment. And this is a great, great topic to shed light on that. I'm also a registered nurse. If that gives me any more street cred, I'll take it. Okay, so cookware. So your utensils and your pots and your pans and all of that good stuff. So Teflon, we all love Teflon. I don't know what year that was, the 80s maybe. Everything had to be nonstick. So if you have Teflon, anything above 300 degrees, the Teflon starts to break down. It does release toxic chemicals into the air and your food, and these are carcinogens. So if you have anything non-stick, please look at it, and especially if it's scratched, it's just a gateway to giving off these toxins. This was shocking to me. Teflon is so bad, we're not supposed to throw it away. It can't be thrown away and it can't be recycled. You're supposed to wait until your community has some kind of a chemical household dump day. That scared the bejesus out of me. If you do decide to throw it away, it will continue to release toxins in the environment that will never leave the environment. Another really bad thing in our kitchens is aluminum, be it our cookware or aluminum foil. So aluminum is related to Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, breast cancer, bone disorders, and autism. I was born and raised on Magnolite pots. I even got them as wedding gifts, and to me that was the best thing I could have ever gotten. When I learned about this, every Magnolite pot left my house. Copper is next. Toxic metal should not be ingested, and copper is a toxic metal. So if you have a copper pot or pan or utensils, and if you are cooking with tomatoes and or vinegar, that causes copper to leach into whatever you're cooking. So if you do have copper, your copper should be lined with stainless steel or ceramic. Corelle, pre-2005, Corelle will tell you to use their dishware for decoration only because of the high lead content in that. So be careful if anybody's got any old Corelle staying around their house. The lead affects every organ in our bodies, severe damage to the brain, the kidneys, and it can even cause death in humans and miscarriages. Tupperware, oh my gosh. Okay, so I know a lot of us are really trying to stop using plastics. So Tupperware is made with polycarbonate number 7. It's hormone disrupting BPA. So if you do happen to have plastics in your home, please try to wash them by hand. Do not put them in the dishwashers and do not heat them in the microwave ever. So what are some things that we can do to replace all of these things? It's parchment paper over aluminum. And for your cookware and your utensils, it can be cast iron, stainless steel, and ceramic. And do y'all know that Young Living has cookware? We have some really, really cool cookware, and a lot of people don't know that. So either bust out your catalogs or go into your virtual office and search up the cookware. It's very, very high quality. I'm done.
Awesome. Thank you, girl. So I'm watching heads nodding and people's comments. So here's the thing, even for those of us that are / oily healthy, this whole segment is brand new to some people. So we did a big switch out in our pots and pans about a year ago, and little by little, so I have 2 good frying pans. The rest I've had to toss. And found I actually still probably have 1 piece of Corelle that keeps finding its way through the dishwasher and what have you. But there is an awful lot of information out there when you start looking at things that are toxic to us in our kitchen. And we can't all go and just throw everything out tomorrow. But this is a good way for you guys to just start looking, paying attention, and knowing when you're out there shopping what it is that you're looking for, and when you're buying gifts. Right? So when we do weddings and we send gifts to people, you want to make sure that your gift is thoughtful, right? As well as safe. So next up on the mic, I have Miss Beth Gonzalez. Come on down.
Hello, everyone. I'm Beth Gonzalez from Dartmouth, Massachusetts. And I feel like I'm very loud, so if I'm too loud, then you can lower your volume. Sorry. So tonight I'm going to be talking about Thieves Household Cleaner. This is all you need to clean your kitchen and everything in it. So this bottle's empty. I just finished it. And most of you know, but for those of you that don't, 1 tiny capful, which is like, what is it, an ounce maybe? fills 2 cups. So it's a 16-ounce bottle. So this one bottle will make about 60 of these if you use just 1 capful. So with that said, that you can clean your counters, all cabinets, your sink, your stove, inside of your refrigerator. I recently watched a thieves cleaner video, and I can't remember who said it, but it stuck out. And they said that they could literally, like, you can lick it off. You could spray it on your arm and you could lick it off. So it's that safe, and your kids can use it to clean the kitchen. Young Living sells a set. It's a bucket with the spray bottle, this thing, and the cleaner, and some oils in a case, which I can't locate, but you can use that to mop your floors. You just put a couple of capfuls, some hot water, and you can add the oils for extra flavor. So that's another way you can clean the kitchen floors with your one thieves cleaner. You can clean your windows with it. Now, I don't get all crazy and make tons of recipes. I pretty much just use the thieves cleaner and the water, and sometimes I'll add pine if I'm doing the floor. But one of the fun things that I do once in a while, I'll make a paste, like a soft scrub, and it's just baking powder, a cap of cleaner, drops of lemon oil and some water, and you just mix it to the consistency you want. And I scrub the heck out of the grates on the stove. I have a gas stove, and then the top of the stove, and it's really good for the sink, especially if you have a metal sink. So yeah, if you can lick it off your arm while you're cleaning, it's wonderful for your kids to clean with, and you can clean around food, like your refrigerator, your countertops, and whatnot. And I mean, that's pretty much it. I think I touched.
What we can do is, if people want to put some of their hacks in there, because we have Anne Marie coming up and she's going to share one right after you, you can put your hacks in the chat.
Yeah.
And then if you're on, I think if you're there's a way to save the chat, so we can see if we can do that.
Yeah.
All right. Thank
Yeah.
you, girl.
Yeah, it's baking soda, Kim, who's asking the question. And it's pretty simple. I don't go crazy. You just need this and nothing else to clean everything in your kitchen.
Perfect.
Okay.
Love that thing. Great price point. Literally, it's all that's underneath our cabinet these days, underneath our kitchen cabinet, along with baking soda, peroxide, vinegar.
Yeah. Oh, citric acid's in my cabinet.
Oh, you wild woman.
Yep.
Thank you, girl. I appreciate your contribution.
That's a conversation when we talk about the bathroom.
There you go, girl. Yes, for making the drops. All right, next up, Anne Marie DeMayo. You are the next contestant on The Price is Right.
Okay, I'm Anne Marie DeMayo. I'm from Waltham, Mass. And Beth kind of introduced what I was going to talk about. I make a thieves tub and tile paste. And basically, it is a half a cup of thieves household cleaner, 2.5 to 3 cups of baking soda. I added a little bit of vinegar to it because my tub is really bad. So I wanted to add a little more something else. And then sometimes I'll I'll add citrus fresh to it to give it a nice citrusy flavor. I also use this in my toilets with the toilet brush. Let it sit for a few minutes and then scrub it. Never thought of using it on my stove. That's my next turn of events in here. But I love it. And just be careful, if you add the vinegar, it becomes like a volcano because it reacts to the baking soda. So we had a little volcano on the counter tonight, but it was good. I cleaned the counter with it. So that's all I've got to say.
Awesome. And I love how, as you guys are sharing your hacks, you're recycling, right? So that's a bottle that you had that you're just getting more use out of again.
The other bottle we could use is also the Thieves dish soap. That's another good one you can use.
That's my favorite because you can get a really good, like, powerful squirt with that one.
Yes.
Yes.
And you can get under the toilet rim with it.
Girl, you've seen me. If you would
And-
put that recipe in, if you don't mind.
Sure. And just one quick thing.
Yes.
My husband was using some strong cleaner to clean the bathroom with. I couldn't even walk in there. So
Yeah.
it's out. It's gone.
We have literally gotten rid of it. It took a little bit, and there was some give and take.
Yes.
Because it's not often that the men are involved in the cleaning, but when they are, boy oh boy, are they anchored to their products.
Yeah.
And there seems to be this thing that the more toxic the smell, the better it cleans.
Yeah.
Oh hell no.
No.
Right?
He was literally choking me with the smell.
Oh my God.
All right, I'll put the recipe in the chat.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Anne Marie. Have a good night, love.
You too.
All right, next up, Miss Alice. So one of the areas where there's an awful lot of waste in the kitchen is around paper towels and the toxicity with wipes. So with that, voila, Miss Alice B.
Sorry, forgot to unmute. Hey friends, how are ya tonight? I'm glad to be here with you all. Anyway, so I'm here to talk to you about reducing waste in the kitchen. And so one of the things that, keeping in mind with this whole pause that we're in and how we can be better and do better, one of the things that I think is happening now here as well is our opportunity to be mindful of our practices and how it affects the environment and the world around us. And so one of the things that I use, and as Kay mentioned, I have been the chronic, paper towel user. I'm constantly washing my hands, and I have towels in the kitchen, but the paper towels seem to be the thing, spray the counter, wipe it up, whatnot. So one of the things that is so easy and great to do is to make your own, whoops, and I just spilled it all over the counter. Excuse me 1 second, it's on my laptop. All right, so I forgot that I took the little, you see this little cap here? Don't do what I just did. Make sure it's on here tight. This is just a mason jar. Let me wipe you off, all right. Sorry, I got too many.
I love you, girl. I love you.
So anyway, what I did here is so easy. I took 1 capful of the Thieves household cleaner, right? And I put 1 cup of distilled water. Before I poured it in here, I mixed it up in the measuring cup. And I took, a friend of mine had given me a bunch of these cloths, right? So what I did was I cut them all up into like, let's see, 1, 2, 3, into like a bunch of little squares so that they look like this, right? And now I have cloths that I can wipe down everything. I can wipe down my knobs on my kitchen cabinets, my refrigerator handles, my counters, you name it. And the best part about it is if you want to have an empty jar or place where you can put them, then you can just throw them in your wash and you have them to reuse again. So we have less waste in our landfills, right? Not to mention that the disposable wipes that we buy for cleaning are chock full of chemicals and toxins that we don't want in our homes. And those are going into the landfill, which means they're going into the earth, they're leaching into the soil, into the water that we're eating, foods we're growing, and things that we're drinking, because that landfill does not stay there, right? So that is my little tip. And yeah.
Thank you, girl. I appreciate that. And one of the things I learned when I was researching this was that most paper towels are bleached. So beyond the landfill issue and the paper and the disposal and, you know, the waste, where that is one of those hidden areas where people are still being exposed to bleach. And bleach is one of those things that in minute amount poses little risk, but one tiny bit over that minute amount, and you are putting yourself and your family at risk from a respiratory skin irritant perspective. Big deal. I love that you use the cloths like that.
Thank you. Yeah, it's great. And, you know, just in line very quickly with, you know, Anne saying how, you know, cancer had touched her life personally. I had a similar situation with my son, and I nursed him as a baby, right? And I made the baby food and did all those things. And, you know, his cancer was not connected to any kind of specific gene. So you have to wonder, you know, was it the stuff that I was using to clean the tub that I put him in and the stuff that I was cleaning my house with? So I'm so grateful to be able to, you know, be here and know better. So I hope this is helpful.
It was so good to see your face, friend. Thank you. Thank you. So coming up next, I have Donna. Donna has the very tough job of tackling spice rack in the kitchen. So without further ado, Donna, go.
All right. I'm going to talk fast because it's a lot of information, and some of this stuff I knew and some of this stuff I was like, whoa. So I'm Donna DiCarlo, as Kay said. Thank you, Kay. I am coming from Waxhaw, North Carolina. And so how many people have been taking this time to clean out their spice racks in their pantries? If you haven't, you're going to start tomorrow or maybe even tonight after you hear this, because it's going to blow your mind. So our spices. Did you know 60% of all spices are imported into the United States? So we get most of our spices from other countries. The United States government requires all spices to be sterilized before they are sold in the United States. There are 3 methods of sterilization. One, the most popular, is fumigation. This is the cheapest because everybody wants it to be cheap, right? And usually when it's the cheapest, it's not always the best for us. So this fumigation process allows ethylene oxide gas to diffuse freely over the spices and permeate the spices. What this gas does, it's an irritant for eyes, nose, throat, can cause damage to the brain, the nervous system, and if it's inhaled, it's actually a carcinogenic to humans. So that's the gas they're using. Great. And then what they have to do, because there's residue on the spices, is they have to aerate the spices and try and alleviate some of that residue, but there's no monitoring of if it's all gone, if it's still there, what percentage, etc. So that's your typical spice, your non-organic conventional spices, you name it, everything. I'm not going to name brands. You can go look it up. You have them all in your cabinets. The second thing is the USDA allows tons of chemicals in this fumigation process that the World Health Organization, which we know is, you know, good and bad, but in general, the World Health Organization is good for us, and they have deemed that these chemicals are hazardous to us, yet our government is still allowing these chemicals to be used and sprayed all over our spices. And guess what? These manufacturers are not required to label that this gas has been used in our spices. Second thing. Okay, irradiation, that's the second method. This process is basically using radiation to kill any bacteria, etc., that might be found in these spices as they're, you know, propagated, etc., etc. But the bad thing is, on top of now radiation exposure, is they also don't have to, manufacturers don't have to disclose that they've used this procedure if the spice has been mixed with one other ingredient. So if you have 2 spices or 2 ingredients that were processed through, sterilized through radiation, you don't have to label it. If it's just one ingredient and it was used through radiation, they have to label it. Makes no sense, right? So, and then there's also like other kind of disclaimers that if they're roasted or heat treated or blended, they don't have to disclose anything. So, you know, that's good. The third one, which is steaming, is basically the only one that's accepted and approved by certified organic growers. This is just dry steam using very hot water. It destroys all the bacteria while maintaining the benefits of the spices and the flavor, et cetera, because those other processes usually kill any benefits we have, say for something like turmeric, right? So this is the most widely accepted use by organic companies. So you're going to want to buy all of your spices organic. So anything else that's in your pantry that's not organic, get rid of it. And I always do okay, as I'm running low or running out, that's when I make my switch. This might be something, because we're all home cooking more, we might want to throw out and start over. There are some good brands on Amazon. I just recommend checking that. And also thrivemarket.com is a website that I think is really, really good. It's a subscription company, but that's just my little plug. Then real quick, a couple things. The other note is the FDA does not require manufacturers of spices to label anything that they may mix with their spices, like flour, sugar, rice, salt, artificial colors, flavors, preservatives. They don't have to list those on the label. So if you're someone who is celiac or has gluten sensitivity, you have to be very careful of your spices. Most of you know that you have to buy an organic or gluten-free spice and make sure it's labeled that. And then they also are not required to be labeled that they're free of contaminants. So there's lots of contaminants, I found out, that can be in spices, and it can be up to 20% of the content of the spices can be what are considered natural defects: mold, poop, dead insects, rat hairs, wire, string, you name it. Whatever is in the ground can basically go in that bottle of spice. So bottom line, buy organic, number one for sure. Or the second option, we have some amazing spices with Young Living, herbs, etc., that you can use that not only are great because they don't go bad. I don't know how many people throw out limes every single day because they're rotting in your fridge. I just use lime oil in my guacamole. Who needs a lime? But there's some amazing, amazing spices. I'll show you if I can not spill it. My little spice rack. Voila! This is just some of them. But this is my collection that my go-tos that I use every day. And don't freak out. Some of them aren't all Vitalities because they last so long that these are from before the Vitality line came out. But anyway, things like rosemary, thyme, sage, ginger. Oh my gosh, I use ginger every day. I make my own like stir-fry sauce with ginger oil, garlic, and tamari. That's all you need. It's delicious. My kids go crazy over it. Cumin, coriander, parsley. I said sage, right? Cilantro, and then all these things are also great for our body systems to help detox and great things like that, like our citrus oils, etc. So, how do you do?
Yeah. So girl, that's a whole nother class or topic.
It is.
Page,
yeah.
Because the thing that I have to commend all of you is most of you, I just give you a word, right? So I go spice rack. That's because I've done the research, seen it, but then put it all out there. I love that you ran with this. I have chosen to exclusively go to essential oils. So I use the basil and the oregano for my sauce. We can do a whole class on cooking and on the ratios because for a large, I would say like a 4-quart gallon, maybe gallon and a half sauce, I use 2 drops of basil, 1 drop of oregano. I mean, it really, the conversion is that subtle. So we will put that on the list of things to do. But thank you, girl. You have duly horrified and educated.
You're welcome.
All right. Next up, I have Miss Kendra Chase. Come on down.
Hi, guys. So good to see all your beautiful faces. Thank you for having me. I am live from Lunabus, currently parked in Mattapoisett, and I'm going to cover cutting boards, which is a pretty important thing in your kitchen because it's an area that can breed all kinds of things. And it's usually the surface that our food lands upon right before it goes to our plates or in the prepping or whatever. So there's many kinds of cutting boards that you can choose. There's wooden and bamboo. There's these colorful plastic kinds. And there's a third hard white plastic kind known as high density polyethylene. I personally like to stay away from the plastics for many reasons. As we know, plastic ends up in the landfill. Little microparticles can end up in our food. Also, studies show that actually bacteria sitting on the surface of a cutting board over time, believe it or not, the wood has an actual enzyme in it that helps to break that down on its own, never mind what we're using to clean it with. And so smaller ones obviously can make it to the sink to be washed down. That's one of the best ways, and I'll talk about how to do that. But sometimes you have a bigger board like a butcher block or a larger cutting board that can't go, and so that would be a different process. If you do use the plastic colored ones, notice how they come different colors, and that reason is so they cannot cross-contaminate. For those who don't know, the yellow would be for poultry, chicken, turkey, that kind of thing. The red would be for meat, green would be for fruits and veggies, blue would be for seafood, and white would be for chocolate and nuts. Whatever cleaner that we put on our cutting board is something that ends up in our mouth. So obviously you don't want to use any old spray. As you heard Beth talk about thieves, that's an awesome way to go. I'll usually spray any cutting board that can't go to the sink. We'll spray it down with thieves, let it sit while you pick up the dishes and whatever else. Go back and wipe it down with one of those nice cloths that Alice showed us how to make. That's a great way to do it. If you are using a wooden cutting board, especially one that can't make it to the sink, there's several different ways to clean it. The thieves is one way. I also like to take a half a lemon with some kosher salt if you want to give it a good scrub. Then you can also go back with the thieves and wipe it down afterwards. For ones that can go to the sink, you give them a good scrub down. You don't want to use dish soap with chemicals because, again, you're putting chemicals back on your board that you're going to end up eating. So the Thieves dish soap is killer, and there's an awesome hack out there. I'm sure in our group or somebody somewhere can cue that up. But basically, you can get several bottles out of this one bottle. It goes a long way, smells great, has all the good essential oils in it. For your wooden cutting boards or your bigger surfaces that can't make it to the sink, you do want to care for those like maybe once a week or even further apart. You want to go back and treat that cutting board with an oil, a carrier oil. It's recommended use mineral oil. To me, that's not really an edible oil, so I'll use an edible oil like olive oil or grapeseed oil. I will take that and put a drop of lemon essential oil in it, mix that, and wipe the board down with a paper towel and let that soak into the surface. So that's going to help with any little micro cuts that are on the surface of the board to help maintain that surface for future use. So yeah, these colored ones, I'm not exactly positive what the material is. I saw that question pop up. They're made in all different kinds of colors. And that's the thing. We don't totally know. Like, that's another variable that we don't totally know, and why I like the hardwood. Again, if you have fancy knives, if you're a fancy knife person and work in a professional kitchen, the hardwood is harder on your knives. The hard white plastic ones are actually the best for your fancy knife edges. But if you do use a cutting board, you can use walnut or teak. Is a little bit easier on the edge of your knife. Bamboo is good, however, terrible on your knife edge. So I hope that helps all.
That would make an awesome post. I think we'd all love to hear more of that. And never in a million years have I ever thought about using multiple boards.
Yes, I know, right?
Right? I love that hack. Thank you, girls. So good to see you.
You too. Thanks, guys.
Right. Next up, Diana B., you are up for hand washing and lotion.
Hi.
Hey, girl. Oh, it's nice to see you too.
Yes. So I'm Diana from Mattapoisett. So I'm going to be going over hand washing and moisturizing. So I have a lot of allergies and a lot of stuff dries out my skin. So I use the Thieves foaming hand soap. I use lavender foaming hand soap. I use the Thieves waterless hand sanitizer and a quick. I use the Thieves dish soap for my dishes, and it's easy on my hands. I don't use many of the Young Living lotions as I have allergies and they usually contain some tree nuts and stuff, but I do make my own with the Young Living essential oils. I use Roman chamomile in that. I use lavender, frankincense sometimes. Can make like a hard lotion in a stick like this, or put it in a tin, or do a lotion bar. I get stuff from Amazon, which I usually use organic. So I use grapeseed oil, cocoa butter, jojoba, rose hip, beeswax, vitamin E. You can also add different like rosebuds or calendula or lavender. So most hand washes and lotions contain a lot of unnecessary ingredients. They can contain cheap synthetics, fillers, preservatives, and toxic chemicals. I use Young Living because they don't contain any of that and they're pure natural ingredients. Many companies add a lot of that stuff in for convenience, to prolong the shelf life, and to basically water down the product so that they can spread it out and have more of it to sell at cheaper prices. Even products that are labeled natural can contain chemical ingredients hidden under a different name. For example, natural flavors and fragrances are examples of ingredients that start out from a natural plant source, but by the time it goes into the product, it closely resembles a synthetic compound. The word fragrance is like an umbrella name that basically a cocktail of chemicals are in that. The FDA also doesn't require companies to report these ingredients, as in the fragrances, it's a way for the companies to protect their trade secrets. Companies also add surfactant ingredients for foaming like SLS and SLES and other ingredients that I cannot pronounce. They are derived from natural sources usually, like coconut or palm kernel oil. However, it makes it possible for them to say natural because what they're derived from, but they actually contain many impurities. So during processing and all that fun stuff. So a lot of people can have irritation from this, many skin types. They can cause allergic reactions as well as dry out the skin. Those types of ingredients also strip the skin of their natural oils. It makes it making your skin more penetrable to outside irritants as you use it. Also, the same chemical can be derived synthetically or naturally. A synthetic ingredient can often share the same name as its natural counterpart, and it's often impossible to know the difference because there's no distinction between what's produced naturally or synthetically. And the way that the ingredients are produced, it's not required to be listed on the label. You can check out the EWG Skin Deep Cosmetics database. That's a great place to learn more about toxic ingredients if you're unsure what is what, but always read your ingredient list. I have a lot of allergies and skin sensitivities, and my daughter has celiac, and I have a gluten intolerance. So I read the ingredients on literally everything that I buy, and most of them in store bought products contain a lot of crap.
Yeah.
So
I appreciate it. You are the perfect person to grab this because you are so knowledgeable in this area. And I let you even go long for the reason of people are at home right now, right?
It's hard to read fast.
We have never washed our hands more than we have in the last 2 weeks of our lives. Even as nurses, I've washed my hands more in the last 2 weeks. And not all products are equal, right? They're not. And you start to notice this when you're a nurse and you're actively working, like when I was working in pre-op areas where I had to wash my hands multiple times a day, you'd come home and your hands would look like raw meat, right?
Yep.
And that's what it's looking like again now with everybody washing. And it's because of what you're talking about, the SLS and all this crap in our products.
Yep.
So go Young Living.
That's right.
Thank you, my girl. It is so good to see you.
You too.
Take care. Next up, April. Talk about that produce because I am shocked.
Alrighty, I am April. I'm coming from Crofton, Maryland, and I'm going to talk to you about 2 products that Young Living has that can help you clean your produce. And this is always important, but I think there's been even more focus on it lately, just with all the stuff that's going on in the world. These 2 products, though, are always by my sink, have been for years. The first one is the Thieves Fruit and Veggie Spray. Now this is great for, if you just have like 1 apple to clean or, 1 piece of fruit, you just squirt it down, you kind of massage it onto the fruit or the veggie for about 30 seconds, rinse it with water, and you're good to go. I take this when we travel places, if you're like picking up fruit on the go, it's great to have with you. The other thing, if you're doing a larger amount of produce at once, you can use the Thieves Fruit and Veggie Soak. This will last a long time. I put about a capful in a bowl of water. The ratio says 1 ounce to a gallon of water. I don't usually have a full gallon when I'm doing it. I'll just grab whatever big bowl I can find. Throw a capful of the Thieves Fruit and Veggie Soak in the water, throw my produce in there and let it sit for a minute or two, kind of like agitate it a little bit in there. It is shocking what will come off of your produce. Even though it looks clean, even if it's organic, there's still stuff that comes off of it. So it's really important to wash your produce. The thing that I've noticed the most is grapes. So much stuff comes off of grapes. It's disgusting. Like the water looks filthy when you take them out of there. I had a make and take a while back, and someone's like, why are your grapes so shiny? How did you get them to look like that? And I was like, I just rinsed them. I use my fruit and veggie soak. But it's really important, normally it's important because you don't know what kind of chemicals have been sprayed. There's dirt, there's all kinds of stuff on there, germs. Obviously, germs are a big thing right now. So those are my 2 go-tos for cleaning my produce.
Thank you so much, Go. Yes, the grapes, broccoli is another one. Potatoes. It is unbelievable with the Zytoscans during the summer months when people have an increased consumption of fresh fruits and vegetables. I watch people's glyphosate levels skyrocket. Like population trend goes way, way up, comes down a little bit now during the winter months, and then goes right back up again come summertime. So even for people who say, oh, I only buy organic, wash.
Absolutely.
And good luck with the move. We're all sending you good juju.
Thank you.
You're a brave soul. All right, Juliet.
Hello, everybody.
Juliet is in the house.
I'm in the house. I am coming to you from Mattapoisett, Massachusetts, and I'm going to be talking about candles and air fresheners. And thanks, Donna. So I wanted to show you one thing before I do that, because this subject is like really one of my favorite subjects, the ditch and switch subject. This is kind of how I got started on my oily journey. When we got our kits, my mother got a stage 4 cancer diagnosis, and so I felt very motivated to get chemicals out of the home. So I can't help but show you my recycling bin. So I don't know if you can see it, but this is full of all kinds of stuff in here. Mrs. Myers, Comet, all of the things, right? So it's exciting. It's a nice little visual, and I'll post a little picture of it too if you haven't seen it. It's nicer in person, but I wanted to show you. So one of the easiest things that we did right away as far as ditching and switching, aside from like the Thieves household cleaner, was getting the candles out. Fortunately, we didn't have any plugins. I don't know, we never got into plugins. But candles, that was something that I really liked. And after doing some research about candles, you'll learn that especially scented candles can be like that when you're burning them, what goes into the air can actually be like smoking a cigarette. Like I can't remember what it's almost like if you're breathing it, it's as if you're smoking a cigarette. So there's a lot of yucky junk in conventional candles. This is a little sheet that I'll post in the comments as well. It's called the Greener, Cleaner Home, which is really a nice little visual that goes through all of the chemicals. And so air fresheners are filled with something that's called glycol esters, and they're known to cause migraines, respiratory issues, endocrine, hormone disruption, cancer causing, kind of all the stuff that we've been talking about. So I feel like it's super easy for anybody. I think most people on this call are already Young Living members. But if you're not, it's the quickest thing is just to have your diffuser and your oils, and you can get rid of all your candles, all your plugins, and notice the difference right away. And it supports your emotions and your health and all your body systems. So that's it.
Thank you, girl. I love it. Thank you so much. All right, Miss Kristen, we are tapping out over to you now, girl.
Yay. Oh my God. So many mic drops. My jaw dropped about 50 times listening to all of this. This is so good. You guys did amazing. Awesome. All right. So I'm Kristen and I'm from Mattapoisett as well. I'm going to talk to you really quickly about essential rewards. In the chat, I just want a little show of hands or a yes or a me or whatever. How many of y'all are on essential rewards? Everybody, right? It's amazing. Me. I love it. So if you're not on essential rewards, let me just brief you on what it is. It is the way to get your product. So we talked about some things tonight. We talked about Thieves Cleaner. We talked about the dish soap. We talked about the produce wash. We talked about the hand soap. We talked about the vitality oils, like cleaning up your spice rack. Hello. The best way to get these products into your home is essential rewards. And essential rewards is basically our monthly VIP customer program, where every month you're going to set your wellness box up. You're going to get products sent to your home that you would normally be buying at the grocery store or Target or wherever. You're going to get points back and free products to use later. And you're going to get free product on top of that for spending a certain amount of money. And for doing it every month, they're going to send you gifts every 3 months. Like, I don't know about you, but Target does not do that for me. And right now, you're going to earn anywhere from 10% back to 25% back. The longer you're in the program, the more you're going to get back. So right now, I've been with Young Living for about 5.5 years. I'm earning 25% back on my orders every single month. So if I spend $300, which is what I like to do because I like to max out the promotions, I'm getting 75 points back in free product that I can either hoard and go on a shopping spree in a few months, or I can use every single month to supplement my supplements or whatever I need for my house. It is the best way to get products into your home. If you're not familiar with it, reach out to the person that invited you and they can get you started on that. But it's really easy, and it truly is a no-brainer for ditching and switching. It'll make your life so much easier. It'll help you stay on budget. It's a great budgeting tool. You know what your limit is every month. You spend that, you get points back. It's awesome. Yep, ER, the best.
Thank you, my friend. Okay, so now coming down the home stretch and comparatively speaking, we're doing so well. Give us 4 more minutes. So I want to talk to you a little bit about the business opportunity. I feel compelled, especially after this topic tonight, right? So many of us who have been doing this for a long time now were disgusted with what we saw. And I have to tell you, back in January, which seems like a million years ago, I had the pleasure of going out and spending time with Richard and Kimmy Bliss Brooks in Hawaii and did a retreat with them. And one of the things, so lots of folks know who Adam Green is. So if you're been around Young Living, everybody knows Adam Green was this 25-year-old that became a millionaire in record time. One of the statistics that they talked about with us, and this was like this mind-blowing. One of the stats was that Adam Green's team has an essential rewards percentage of 75%. So 3 out of every 4 people on his team is on ER monthly. And I was like, what? That's insane. Now the company is 40%. So across all of Young Living, it's 40%, which means 40% of our folks reorder every month, right? That's amazing. He's almost double that. And the reason was because how he approaches his team building is it's a call to action. And his call to action is around this, getting these toxins out of people's house, talking passionately, having watching the movie Stink and some of the other movies that are out there, really getting people to understand what's going on, not just the surface, right? So not just like surface green, but deep green, really understanding what's going on. And he invites his folks, every single one that comes, to choose 1 of 3 ways to help. So this is what I'm putting out to you guys today. You really have a choice. Okay, you can be a customer. So when Jules enrolled me, I started as a customer. Okay, I was happy to, I'm like, okay, Jules is pretty smart. She's a nurse. I'll do what she says. Yeah, the oils will be great. They'll help my family, whatever. But I was like, okay, I'm sure she told me about ER many, many times, but it wasn't until I came around, and I think it was like February, so maybe about 5 or 6 months after she enrolled me. So you can be a customer, and we're thrilled when we have customers, right? Some people want the kit, they order every here and there, they love the products. That's enough. An ambassador, though, is somebody who buys the kit, gets on ER, and is so madly in love with what we're doing that they got to tell other people. Now, they might not call this a job, but they may share on a part-time basis and every now and then enroll or think of us or our products when they're giving a gift, right? But what we want more than anything else is we want people with the same heart as us. We want influencers. We want people who are buying the products, who are on ER, and who understand, like right now, while we're in the middle of the great pause of 2020, how important it is. None of us would have predicted that our businesses would do so amazing and be so coronavirus proof, right? How did we manage to survive? Many of you are closing the month up right now. I can only speak for myself, but I'm happy. I was scared to death, but I am so happy because I've had so many people, so many folks that have let their accounts expire, reaching out, scrambling, going, I thought I had thieves and I don't have any, right? So we are so relevant right now. So talking about being an influencer, if you have not read the 4-year career, talk to the person who enrolled you. If they know nothing about it, reach out to one of us so that we can educate you on this. Understanding the 4-year career means exactly this. And let me explain to you, and this is why anyone can do this, right? This isn't about how many friends you have. Your job is to enroll one person, okay? And then their job is to enroll one person, right? So if each of us, it isn't about how many people you know, it's about who do you know that knows people and can enroll, right? So that sphere of influence can come either directly or it can come, you don't know. You don't know when the person sitting next to you or at the cash register is a yoga instructor, a massage therapist, a chiropractor, right? I actually I met a woman in a hot tub in Florida when we were on vacation, right? You don't know. So that's the beauty and the fun of that. So we would love, love, love to talk to you about the potential opportunity and being an influencer with us. And it may not be, if it's not you, we're so glad you're an ambassador. So I wanted to put that out there. I want to just thank every single one of you guys for putting the work in and pouring into this. We got this done in 70 minutes, which for us is amazing. I'm very, very grateful to all of you. And I think that's it. If there's questions, we can put them in the chat, but I'm going to have Kristen now do a shut off of the recording so that we have this as a resource for you guys to be sharing with others. And then if anyone has questions, let's talk. Because we can, because we're lonely, because we're all stuck in the house.
Let's just hang out for a couple hours.
Right?
Right? All right, I'm going to stop the recording. This is when it's going to get fun. Sorry, replay peeps.